Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Thank you for tuning in for the first installment of our Legal Lyons Tuesday tip.
All right. We're going to wait a couple seconds and let some people get logged on before we start speaking this morning.
Well, before we do that, we want to thank everyone that tuned in last week for our introductions. We really appreciate the support and your viewership. And as well, we want to thank everyone that will watch this video later at some time in the future. Today's topic is going to be very informative. It should be beneficial for you. And, we hope that, upon your completion of watching us today, it will have a call to action for you to go out and make some changes possibly.
Thanks, Renwick, for joining in today.
Hey, Renwick, thanks for joining in.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. And Attorney Lyons is going to begin letting us know a little bit about uninsured motorist coverage and about the difference between uninsured motorist coverage, bodily injury coverage, and the misconception about full coverage, which you have a lot of questions from clients when they're involved in an accident after the fact. We ask them what kind of coverage they have, and they say they have full coverage, and that can really be a misconception here in Florida. So, Attorney Lyons?
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, as Attorney Lenore mentioned, people say they have full coverage, and that's a huge fallacy out there. What depends on what type of coverage you have in your insurance depends on what your individual needs are. So you certainly want to check with your insurance carrier to see what you have. But when you talk about the area of uninsured versus underinsured motorist coverage, it's something that you need to have in place. And so the question may be, what is uninsured motorist coverage?
All right. Well, I'm glad you asked, Attorney Lyons. And in Florida, we operate as a no-fault state. And a lot of times people don't even know what that means. But in our state, the only type of coverage that you're required to have if you operate a vehicle on our roadways is property damage. So you have to have enough money to fix somebody else's car if you hit them. That's $10,000 minimum. You also have to have what we call personal injury protection, and you have to have a minimum of $10,000 in that. And essentially what that personal injury protection or PIP coverage does is help you with your medical bills. So if you get hurt in an accident, you go to the emergency room, you go to see a doctor for treatment subsequent to that accident, that PIP coverage is going to pay up to 80% per claim that your doctor submits. So those are the only two types of coverages that you have to have. Now, if you have bodily injury coverage on your policy, what that does is assist the other driver if you're responsible for the accident. So let's say I hit Attorney Lyons and I cause him to have some injuries as a result of the accident, then my bodily injury coverage would be initiated to help him with any medical bills, any permanent injury, because we do have to show a permanent injury that he may have as a result of my negligent operation of my motor vehicle. What we need to have, or we need to make sure that you all have on your policy, is what we call uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. And essentially what that does, you all, is to cover you in case the other driver decides not to have bodily injury coverage. Because as I've already mentioned, it's not required in our state. So it's really important that you go and you check your policy and you see what kind of coverage you have.
Hey, Betty, how you doing?
Hey, Betty. We've had numerous occasions where individuals have bodily injury coverage in a pretty substantial amount to cover the other driver, but when it comes to them, they don't have anything at all. So if that means you need to maybe kind of re-proportion the percentages or the amounts of coverage that you have, maybe lower that bodily injury coverage so that you will have sufficient coverage for yourself, maybe that's something you need to give some consideration to. So again, that underinsured motorist coverage or uninsured motorist coverage will kick in, one, if the other driver does not have any bodily injury coverage, or two, if you get hit by somebody who has minimal coverage, say they only have $10,000 worth of coverage, it will allow you to recover that $10,000 from them and then go to your own policy for additional compensation.
Good morning, DeAndre. How you doing? As Attorney Lenore mentioned, we handled a number of cases over the years where we've seen people get injured, have catastrophic injuries. The person that hit them in the accident does not have the bodily injury coverage that Attorney Lenore mentioned, and then they don't have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage either. So that's a very sad day that we have for clients when we have to let them know, unfortunately, you don't have a case, and unfortunately, there's no source that we can recover from to get you compensation for your injury. So what we like to do is, hopefully by viewing this video, it urges you to go out, look at your insurance policy to see what you have. You want to start with looking at what's called your declarations page. It's a sheet that says just what I said, declarations page, and it lets you know every coverage you have on your policy. So you want to look at that very closely, with a very fine eye, to make sure you have the type of coverage you need in order to protect yourself if someone carelessly or negligently causes an accident and subsequently causes you injury as a result.
All right. So hopefully that has given or provided a little clarification as to what types of coverage you need to make sure that you have on your policies. We're always telling our friends and family to please go and double check their policies and ensure that they have sufficient coverage under their policies. Looks like we have a question. Betty, does having full coverage automatically mean that you have UM? No, it does not. Again, it is an optional coverage, and you need to make sure that you check your declarations page, check your policy, and make sure it says uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage there. You could very well have bodily injury coverage and other types of coverages there, but not have the UM. A personal example, I have insurance with a very reputable company here in Florida, and I have received notices from them on several occasions where they told me that I could save money each month by just taking off that kind of coverage on my policy. With your uninsured motorist or underinsured motorist, and we call it UM for short. We have a lot of abbreviations, BI, UM, PIP. They're pretty commonplace abbreviations for us. It can also be stacked. So let's say you have 2 cars in your household, right? If you have stacked coverage, if you say have a $50,000 policy on your vehicle, if you stack the coverage, which traditionally doesn't cost you very much more per month, you can double that coverage. So now you don't just have $50,000, you have $100,000 worth of coverage. Okay, so if you have a $50,000, $100,000 policy, which essentially means you get $50,000 per person or $100,000 per accident available, you now have $100,000 and $200,000. So make sure that you double check that as well. I've had clients before, had they only were aware, if they had known that they could stack their coverage, and let's say they had 3 cars, their coverage amount would have been, increased tremendously, and they did suffer pretty significant injuries in that accident. So again, make sure you have UM and double check to see if it's stacked, depending upon how many cars you have in your household.
And as Attorney Lenore mentioned, it may only cost an extra couple of dollars a month to protect you and your family. And, we hope that you're never in an accident, but if you are, those couple dollars extra a month will really save you in the long run. We want to see you protected, and we want to see you taken care of if something unfortunate happens to you.
Hey Dana, how are you?
Thanks for joining us.
All right. So in closing, thank you again for tuning in today. We really, really appreciate your support. And we hope that this session has been informative for you. If you have any questions about what coverage you should have, certainly, hey Keyshawn.
Good morning.
Certainly give us a call at our office. That's 844-LAW-LYON with the Y, Lyon. You can also visit our website to subscribe to our monthly newsletter. We'll be sending out tips for you to assist you and your family, as well as email blasts that are informative, that can help you along the way if you are involved in a motor vehicle accident. Also note that we service the areas of law of personal injury, wrongful death, sports, as well as family. So if you have any questions, please give us a call. We'd like to make the disclaimer that this isn't legal advice, but just
tips,
mere legal tips to assist you as you navigate your way through the area of auto insurance and personal injury. Hey Corey, how are you? So if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. Otherwise, we hope that you all have a wonderful day. And we thank you again for tuning in to the Legal Lyons Tuesday Tip.
For answers to more of your questions, you can visit our YouTube channel, which you can find at Legal Lyons TV. Our website is legallyons.com. Tune in for next week's broadcast. We have another very interesting topic that we think you'll find very helpful. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a great day.